What do you think of those waves?
Good lord. 40 knots of wind is like not a small thing. Yeah, well, I just rolled up some more head sail because it's blowing like 35 knots. And we only need just like a tiny little bit out to maintain steerage. We're still doing like 6.5 knots with a tiny little head sail out. But I also bagged our mainsail because the wind was like starting to push some of the sail out of the bag, and tied off our halyards so they stopped banging so much, and fell off and went further downwind so that we're not taking those waves on the side, because we were taking a couple of waves on the side that were like splashing completely over the deck. It's a little bit more comfortable now. But it's only supposed to blow like this for the next like 12 to 18 hours or so, and then it's going to calm back down again. So too bad the camera doesn't do a very good job showing how big the waves are. It never does.
How big do you think the waves are?
3 meters, I'm sure, but they're breaking too.
Do you think they're the biggest waves we've ever sailed in?
Definitely. Yeah, definitely. We've had waves splash into the cockpit before, but we've never had waves like come overboard before. It just pushes us off.
Guys, I am not a big fan of those waves, like, at all. They are big, they're not consistent, and I feel like they're just getting bigger. Holy shit. Not a big fan, but it's blowing 35 knots right now, gusting to 38. It's supposed to calm down by this afternoon, and hopefully it means that the waves will start calming down as well, or at least lining up better. But yeah, this is definitely the worst sea state we've ever been in. But on the positive side, we don't have to be outside because the Cape Horn is steering like professional, and surprisingly, inside is kind of comfortable. Aside from the halyard banging, it's not too bad. It's just those waves. Those waves are making me nervous. But we'll see. If things get worse this afternoon, then we might just drop the pole and heave too. But so far we just decided to keep running with it because we're on a pretty good course and we're making pretty good speed. We'll see.
Yeah, these waves are building up pretty big. We just got one in the cockpit that like filled up the cockpit, which is kind of why I wanted to seal the cockpit lockers before we went on this trip, but never got the chance to. Hopefully we don't get another one though. The water came in the cockpit and like washed up underneath the lids, I think. We got quite a bit of water in the bilge. I mean, the bilge pump works, it took care of it, but it's more annoying than anything else. You see, like, there's all this, the red 30 to 40 knots of wind is right above us. We're right here right now, 30 knots of wind speed, which is right about right. And then by 4 or 5 o'clock, it goes down to 24, 23, 20. And then it comes in and we need to jibe tomorrow morning. But if you want to really freak out, hit gusts. That's what you get. Yeah, 35 knot.
This is where we are?
We're right here. So, yeah, 37 knot gusts, which is exactly what we're getting. A 36, 34, 35. The gusts potentially continue until tomorrow morning. But the wind is supposed to start dropping down.
You have like a wave forecast in there?
There's the wave height, 2 up to 3 average. Right now they're like 2.5 or so. So they're gonna build a little bit more, but not much. Hopefully the wind's gonna lighten up a little bit in the next 5 to 6 hours. Here's the rain coming, but in that wind shift there's gonna be rain. So starting around midnight probably till tomorrow morning at noon, it's gonna be raining.
Like ideally we would have been further south than this, right? We're trying to get south.
Yeah, I mean, like it's just as shitty 40 miles south of us as it is here. I mean, like, it's not that much different. Well, it looks like tomorrow morning we're going to get our wind shift. This 30 knots of wind is going to die. It's going to shift out of the northwest and it's going to drop to maybe 15 to 20 knots of wind. So sometime tomorrow morning we're going to be jibing in the rain. But I think in the meantime we're going to try to get some sleep. We're going to take shorter watches tonight so we can be well rested. And we'll see you guys tomorrow. Hi, love.
Hey.
You awake-ish?
Yeah, I'm awake now.
You're awake-ish. You ready to jibe in the rain tomorrow morning?
Is it gonna rain?
It's gonna be pouring rain. It's gonna be clocking out the north, so you're gonna start to see us like turn. We're probably gonna want to jibe sooner rather than later when it starts to shift, so we can keep maintaining this course so that the waves are still from behind us.
Not gonna lie though, like earlier today with those waves, they were making me a little nervous.
Yeah, those are some big waves. I mean, we took a couple in the cockpit and a bunch on the side that were just like waves all over the top of the boat.
Were you nervous?
Not really nervous. The Cape Horn was steering really well and Uma was handling it. The reason I wasn't nervous is because we were still only sailing at like 6.5 knots. We weren't doing like 8 or 9 or something crazy. Like we were still well under control. If that makes sense? That's why I wasn't nervous. Like if we had that little tiny scrap of head sail out and we were doing like 8 knots, then I'd start to be nervous because then we'd be like sailing faster than we should. But no, I was good. I wasn't very nervous.
It definitely calmed down.
Yeah, it's...
The waves are much less big. I mean, now that you can see it.
It's supposed to stay right about here, like between 24 and 30 knots for the next like 5 or 6 hours, and then I think we're gonna start to see a shift, and that's gonna be like 15, 20 knots for 2 or 3 days. And it's not like
non-stop.
It's not like it's different. Like we've been maybe not quite this big of seas, but we've been in like rolly uncomfortable seas before, and we've been in 30 knots of wind before. It's just like more of it.
We were kind of expecting this.
Yeah.
Coming this route instead of going low.
No, but that's the point of heading up high like this, is that we have, like we were expecting 25 to 30 knots of wind for most of it, and 3-meter seas or whatever, but at least we're not becalmed. Like if we went lower, there's a good chance we'd just be in super duper light wind, like to sail up to Halifax. And we'd just be like drifting along at 3 knots and just spinnaker out, making 40, 50 miles a day rather than like 180, 190 miles a day like we're doing up here. We've been making really good time. they're cuddling you. Good night. Good night. Good night. Bye. Good night. Good night. Good night. Good night.